Hey tchotchkes, welcome back to another episode of the Cha Cha Beat. I don't think I'm alone when I say that I struggle a lot with self-worth. I I don't want to be on here shading my parents, but I definitely grew up internalizing the message that I was not good enough, I was not smart enough, I was not skinny enough, I was not popular enough, I was not special enough to be worthy of, I don't know, greatness, be worthy of happiness, be worthy of living the life that I actually desire to live. It's almost as if they were like, "Oh, you are mediocre and that's you deserve a mediocre life." And it's weird because I never felt like I was mediocre. I always felt like I was different or just not I'm not saying better, definitely was not smarter than or skinnier than or more popular than, but I always felt really like I just didn't belong, like I didn't fit in, and that there was something else out there for me, somewhere else that I belonged or some other opportunity that was not being presented to me as a possibility because it wasn't in the realm of what my parents accepted as a potential future for one of their daughters. And now that I am 41 and have pretty much refused to accept that I am not smart enough, or I'm not skinny enough, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not special enough, or I'm not worthy enough to deserve the life that I imagine is out there, the love that I imagine is out there. And through, kicking and screaming, not literally, but maybe there was a little bit of kicking and screaming as I made my way off the East Coast in my late 20s, just insisting that, stop telling me I'm wrong. Stop telling me I can't. Stop telling me that you don't believe that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do because I'm going to do it. Why can't I do this? And they never had a reason for why I couldn't, just I wasn't good enough. Other people were allowed to go and chase their ambitions, but me, I don't know, they didn't trust me, they didn't believe in me, they just were so scared that I was gonna fail that the, way that they were trying to protect me was to convince me that I was going to fail so that I didn't even try. But I did try because I was pretty much just, obsessed with the concept of getting away from winter in New York City, and moved to California and fell in love, found someone who actually likes me and wants to be around me and spend the rest of his life with me. I mean, seriously, tchotchkes, up until Justin and I have been together for over 10 years now, and up until about a year or two ago, my parents were still kind of hinting around the notion that any day now, Justin is going to wise up. He's going to figure out that he's too good for me and dump me on my ass and move on. And I think at this point, they've accepted that that's not going to happen. And they've just resolved to believe that Justin is a fool and somehow I am manipulating him into being with me. And for someone who struggles with self-worth, it's not totally ideal for me to have the ambitious goal of writing a book, writing a memoir, the story of Let Me Out, I'm Stuck, how I escaped from the life I was given and moved to a life that I'm creating, that I'm designing for myself. Okay, so even if I manage to convince myself that, like, I'm capable of writing this book, which at this point, I feel like I've gotten it. Like, I can write this book. However, took me a little while to get there because I don't know if you know this, tchotchkes, but it is really hard to write a book. I had no idea how hard it was when I like had the idea one day sitting on a park bench in Union Square in Manhattan being like, I'll show them I'm going to write a book. Well, easier said than done. I feel like when the phrase "easier said than done" like came about, that person was probably talking about writing a book because it's so easy to like have an idea, "Oh, I'm gonna write a book about that," and then like you actually sit down to write it, and it's like really fucking hard. But at this point, I have written enough of the book, and I have seen over the years as I've been writing it how much my writing has improved, my style has improved, my ability to like tap in to the emotions, to the carnal scene of what's going on, the smell of it, the visceral just components of that day in 2012. I've become so much better at just putting it into words and transcribing a beautiful story that every time I finish a beat, which is what I call like an excerpt from the book, an individual story is a beat. It's usually anywhere from like 150 to like 1,200 words. So varying in length, but like relatively short. And then there are like, a whole bunch of beats make up a chapter. And then there's like several chapters in the book. But I've gotten to the point where, for the most part, every time I finish writing one of these beats for my book, I read it back and I am just moved by, I mean, I'm just going to say it because we're talking about self-worth here and self-confidence. I am really fucking impressed with what I just wrote. Like, I can't believe that that came out of me. And like, yes, it was my experience. And so I'm able to like, read the words back and picture it in a way that a reader could never. But I'm also able to like put myself in the position of being a reader who did not experience this. And I feel like I really managed to capture that moment, that scene, that emotion, that just turmoil of growing pains that I'm going through at that particular time in my life. And it's been a truly remarkable experience, like watching or observing myself like becoming a better writer in this process. It's still a tug of war in my mind sometimes of like, okay, yeah, I can write the book, but should I write the book? Why am I writing this book? Why am I wasting my time going back into the emotional turmoil of my 20s? Like, shouldn't I just move on and live blissfully in love in California in my 40s? Like, why do I need to keep torturing myself and going back? Like, why don't I just write something else? No, like, and this gets into the whole self-worth thing of like, no one cares about me. No one cares about my story. Why would anyone want to read it? And yet, despite all of these, inner turmoil thoughts that I have, I just can't seem to stop myself from feeling, knowing, believing, having faith in the fact that I am like meant to write this book. Let Me Out, I'm Stuck, like, is my calling. It is my destiny. And it sounds so ridiculous to say out loud. It sounds so ridiculous for me to like actually put this on the internet and like announce it to the world that I'm like destined to write this book. But I don't know, tchotchkes, like, do any of you, please let me know in the comments, do any of you feel like you're just like compelled to do something? You are just meant to do this art? Like, it's just, this is what you are here to do is to like synthesize this experience, whether you're a painter or a sculptor or a writer or a designer of sorts. Like, I just can't shake the idea that like I'm supposed to write this book. And so as I've continued writing it, I've realized, I've learned how time consuming it is, how emotionally consuming it is, to the point where I realized when I had a full-time corporate job, I was not writing the book at all. It pretty much sat on the shelf for like 7 or 8 years while I had my last stint of jobs because I just didn't have time. I didn't have the attention span. I didn't have the like self-worth to think that at the end of a long day of, serving the man, that my particular voice, my story actually was of like any importance to try at all. I'd rather just sit on the couch and watch reruns of Project Runway or The Real Housewives and feel bad about myself because I'm a loser that has no hobbies, because for so long I was just like obsessed with writing this book. And now I have this job that just like totally drains me. And I'm just not happy. So when I got laid off from my last corporate job at the end of 2024, I made the decision that like this is it. It is now or never. If I do not recommit to this book now, it's not going to happen. Like I'm going to have to officially give up this dream that I had, because I cannot continue in this life of essentially hating myself because I was not fulfilling what I wanted to do. I mean, it's a whole lot easier to live with yourself if you don't try, if you just decide, well, I don't want that anymore, and you just give up. And yet I just couldn't give up, because the concept of thinking of myself like 20 years from now and the level of like pain and regret that I like intuited that I was going to feel, because I just never actually believed in myself enough to like take this giant leap of faith and just do it. It was just too much. I do not want to be a 60-year-old woman who is bitter and ashamed and consumed with regret because I was too scared when I was 40 to believe in myself. So I committed to getting back on the horse, the metaphorical horse, and I am writing a book, my book, a memoir. It's called Let Me Out, I'm Stuck. And then, the wave of self-doubt comes over me, and I am consumed with thoughts of, well, who cares? No one's going to read it. Like, I'm not just writing this book so that I can read it. Like, I lived it. I don't need to read this book. Like, it's not, maybe it'll help me in like a therapeutic way, but in terms of like actually like turning it into a literary story, like that doesn't need to be done in order for me to like process the like angst and turmoil and pain and suffering and growth that I went through in those years that the book covers. I'm writing this book to share with you, with all of my tchotchkes out there that maybe also feel lonely or stuck or not worthy in their 20s. And maybe they have big ideas of what they could or would accomplish if only they believed in themselves, or if only they had people in their lives that believed in them and encouraged them and told them, don't give up, you can do it. I'm writing this book because I have yet to see any representation in media, TV, movies, podcasts, whatever it is, that is showing the young woman who doesn't have a best friend, who doesn't have a boyfriend to like, be her confidant as she's kind of making her way into this world and trying to find her place and figure it out and discover who she is and what she wants. And she's just completely alone. Like, where's that story? And I'm pretty sure, like, that story doesn't exist because, in literary kind of, what's the word? In like a literary device, in like a tool of telling a story, having that best friend or the confidant, like that's such an important, like, counterpart to the protagonist. And in my case, like, I am my own counterpart. I figure out how to be my own best friend, my own support system. I did not have anyone in my life who I could trust or count on or lean on or confide in. It was all me. And I don't see that story being told. And I would be shocked, like stunned on the floor, done, dead, fork in me, like over if I am the only woman who ever came of age who felt that she did not have a best friend, let alone like a group of friends that she like really fit into. She did not have a boyfriend that, she came of age with and they like figured out how to love and each other's bodies and intimacy and all of those things together. Like, I can't be the only one. And yet that story is not being told. So I am writing Let Me Out, I'm Stuck for all of my tchotchkes out there who are not being represented in the media because the media is so concerned with presenting, the typical like friends. They have five best friends I don't know, pick a TV show. Any TV show that I reference right now is going to be from the 90s or the early 2000s. Like, I'm so old, I'm so dated. So, like, I'm not even going to give you an example because you're all just going to make fun of me in whatever examples I come up with. But think of an example yourself. Any TV show, rom-com, whatever it is, there's always going to be the main character, the protagonist, and like their sidekick. What happens when the protagonist does not have a sidekick? Even if the sidekick is like a horse in like, Don Quixote, the ultimate like hero's journey or whatever, he still has a living, breathing, confidant, friend, support system that is with him through the trials and tribulations. But in the modern world, not every gal has a horse or dog or whatever it is. Like, some of us are just alone and we have to figure it out for ourselves. And the fact that there is no story that reflects that can just make the whole experience seem even lonelier. So that's why I'm writing this book. That's why I committed to writing this book. And then I realized, well, who's going to read it, Chach? No one's going to read this book because no one knows that this book is even happening, because I have struggled with self-worth for my entire life to the point where I'm not on social media like at all. Had a Facebook when Facebook like first came out. I was a senior in college when Facebook like first happened. When it came to my school, you still needed a .edu email address to actually like get onto Facebook. And then in my first years like out of college is when like e-commerce came to Facebook and different brands had pages, and then all of a sudden your mom was on Facebook and everyone was on Facebook. Like, this is before Instagram. So I had Facebook in like the very beginning, but was always very self-conscious and very aware of like anytime I posted something, I was just aware of like how many likes did I get? Did I get as many likes as that person? Like, do I look good in that picture? Was that a like witty enough status that I posted? Like, I was just constantly so worried about being received, being accepted, being liked, that pretty quickly I realized that like Facebook does not make me feel good. Facebook makes me feel self-conscious and like I'm being judged and like I'm in some kind of competition that I never signed up for. And so I just faded into the background of Facebook. And then Instagram came out, and I was immediately turned off by Instagram because the whole thing with Instagram, is like you've got the filters and like all of these things. And I was like, that just sounds like so many decisions. Like, I don't want to have to make a decision on which, like, all of those filters more or less look the same to me. Like, yes, one is sepia and one is like newsprint, but like in terms of like which one is better, like I didn't want to have to like make those decisions. Like, it just seemed like a giant time and self-esteem. It just seemed like a giant time and self-esteem suck from like the very beginning. So I never got on Instagram, don't do X or Twitter. TikTok, was old already by the time TikTok came out. So like I'm not on social media at all. So like, yeah, I'm writing this book and I'm like posting what I write on my website, chachabeat.com, but no one knows about it. No one's going to read it. No one cares. But because I am obsessed with writing this book, I decided I had the bright idea that, like, okay, well, I'm going to start a podcast. Yes. Like, I know when I interact with people in real life that I definitely like have like the spark in the conversation. Like, I make people laugh. I know I'm entertaining. I know I'm provocative. I know I'm silly. Like, I can do that. Sure. No problem. I'm going to start a podcast. Well, if you struggle with self worth, starting a podcast is maybe one of the most challenging things that I probably could have taken on. It became very obvious very quickly, tchotchkes, that I'm going to use the past tense at this point, that I had a giant, enormous, intense fear of being on the internet, like my face, my voice, my thoughts, my convictions, all of it, like calling attention to myself, asking people to pay attention to me on the internet was absolutely terrifying to me because I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not special enough. I'm not enough to the point where I can like make myself sick over it. Like, can see I have like track marks on my arms from just like, scratching the shit out of myself because I'm so inflamed. I have so much inflammation of stress over recording myself and putting it on the internet and taking a risk and admitting to the world that I'm doing all of this. And like, what if no one cares? What if, and it, like, the thing is, honestly, it's like, what if no one cares is like one thing. Like, okay, I hope people care. I hope people enjoy this. But like, if people are mean to me, like, that's not even like a bad thing because you're still getting the engagement. So like, even being mean, like, whatever. But it's like putting myself out there where my judgmental parents are going to see, like, oh, not only did she move to California, but she's still writing this book. She's still talking about this book. And now she's putting herself out there to fail in public. And she is going to embarrass herself. She's going to embarrass us. And it's really pathetic. And maybe, tchotchkes, you are not writing a book. Maybe you are not starting a podcast, but maybe you also struggle with self-worth to the point where you have a hard time speaking up for yourself. You have a hard time believing in your dreams or convictions because you have been told your entire life, don't dream, don't think you can, don't try. Why would you try? Trying is for other people who like actually are special or actually like have talent. I mean, talent, what is talent? Talent is just like a lot of practice. That's all it is. I mean, the people who have a lot of like talent are usually people who like decided at a very young age, like I love dancing. And if you decide at the age of like 6 that you love to dance, Sure, by the time you're 22, you are going to be a really talented dancer because you've been dancing for, I don't know, what is 22 minus 6? Go. I don't do quick math because when I do, it's wrong. And then in the comments, people get very judgmental about the fact that I don't do quick math. I don't do quick math. I'm just telling you right now. I'm a writer. I work with words, not numbers. But my point is that talent it's just a culmination of a lot of practice. Like a year from now, if I continue practicing and putting myself out there and trying over and over and over again, a year from now, someone, maybe even you, Tchotchke, might say, wow, she's really talented. There's a Friends episode where Chandler is scared to make a commitment to take his relationship to the next level with Janice. You know, Janice is like, oh my God, like that one. He is very scared. He doesn't want to talk to her because if he talks to her, he's going to say something to like screw the whole thing up and he doesn't know what to do. And Joey comes in and he's like, well, if you're scared of something, like you should do it. Editor, which is really Cha-Cha in the future, put that clip in there.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, man. Jump off the high dive. Stare down the barrel of the gun. Pee into the wind.
So I guess, Tchotchkes, this is me peeing into the wind because I am scared to put myself out there. I am scared to claim my own self-worth. I'm scared to fully accept the concept that like I am good enough, I am brave enough, I am whatever enough. I am enough. And whatever happens, however many views this gets, if it gets none, if it gets, viral because I'm just like amazing like that, or somewhere in the middle, no matter what, I know that I'm never going to like get over my issues unless I face them straight on and deal with it and try and allow myself to be bad, allow myself to be embarrassed, allow myself to be a beginner. And like that's the only way anything is ever going to change. I guess at the end, all I can say to you, Tchotchke, is if you are struggling with self-worth or a fear of any kind, let me be your proof that you can overcome whatever it is. You too can pee into the wind. And I don't I mean, I bet it's, like, more fun for a man to pee into the wind, to tell you the truth, but, like, the whole concept of peeing into the wind, it does sound, like, very freeing. So, this is me metaphorically peeing into the wind, and I hope that you take this as an invitation to, pee into the wind yourself and try something new and challenge yourself and see what you're capable of. It may be scary, it may hurt, it may cause you to pull your neck or inflame your arms, but it's all just temporary. And whatever is waiting for us on the other side is going to be so much more amazing than being stuck in this trap. All right, tchotchkes, that's all we have time for today. If you are curious about my book, Let Me Out, I'm Stuck, you definitely want to head over to my website, chachabeat.com. And that's where you're going to find all of the beats, the excerpts from that I've written so far. You can go from chapter 15 to chapter 2 to chapter 8. Like you can skip around. You don't need to read it in order. Every beat is a standalone story in itself. And stand by because more is coming. I'm not going to stop. The winds of change are blowing, tchotchkes, and we are peeing. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, keep calm and cha-cha on. Cha-cha-cha.